We'll call our meeting to order. Secretary Crowe, would you call the roll for the membership, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco? Present. Mrs. Baez?
Present.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes, present.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Present.
Mr. Crowe, present.
We do have a quorum. Would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you. At this time, I would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda or for any it's a word, revisions.
We have done.
Okay,
I make a motion that we approve the agenda with no revisions.
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco?
Yeah.
Mrs. Baez?
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
Okay, the motion carries. The agenda is approved. All right, we're on reports. NEA Deming, first.
Today, I had a fabulous morning. So far. Hopefully, everybody else did. Vicky's email recently said, I hope you got recharged. And I feel like it's. I'm hoping everybody did.
Good. That's great to hear.
We did these new employee orientation today, which has gotten a lot bigger because they are including a lot more people into it. So it's really awesome. And we got 7 new members. Let's see, myself, Georgina Nagal and Julian Monteros actually went to Florida to be part of the National Representative Assembly. We spent $1.24 million and voted on how that got spent, which is a really very cool democratic process where members make propositions for things that NEA should do at a nationwide level. And then the membership, which was, I believe it's like 4,500 to 5,000 people, vote on yes or no, whether we should support that thing. So it was a very cool event to go to.
You said you spent, you better say.
Yeah.
She has lots of, she doesn't have any money now because she's.
And then, we are bringing you the collective bargaining agreement finally. So it still has tweaks. Every time we look at it, there's like one more thing that it's like, oh man, that should be fixed. So, it'll keep.
We'll start
happening.
looking at it.
Yeah, I know. It's
That time
big
almost.
document. So, yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The next is our new district website presentation. Oh, she even dressed.
I even dressed up.
Oh, to get that.
Madam President, school board members, Superintendent Chavez, I am extremely happy to be able to show you the new district website. So let me get to where I can share screen right now. And I think this is. Oh, man. Okay. Let's see if it'll let me do it.
We could sing a song while we're waiting. Do we have anyone musical here that could lead us? Vicky can.
I could.
Yes, Armando, yeah. We could do the Wildcat song.
Robin leads the Wildcats.
Okay, let's go, Robin. You might get a promotion, Robin, if you. Does anyone have anything they want to talk to us about? While we?
Okay.
Oh, we're ready. Sorry, missed the chance.
Right, I am sure you have a minute.
You're gonna get into this.
Sorry.
Oh, look at that.
Alright. So this is the end of the video. There's the beginning of the video. You've got the Growing Champions, Deming Public Schools coming on there. This video right now is on all of the district websites, all the school ones, because we're still waiting on some drone footage for our school sites, but they will all have videos that are customized to the school. We have a news section in here that you can see. This is actually stuff that went out today. So we have our transportation news coming out. And then we also have our quick links right here. So we have some important ones there. If you click school board, it'll go right to the school board information.
And then if you go to it's just showing meet the board.
So meet the board.
And we, Charles has put up the member districts. We get a lot of
Yeah, I
requests
like
for
that.
that, so people can really see that. And then you can click on any district to see the person. There's Daniel.
Yes, we don't need to read it all.
So we're gonna be asking you for a little biography and maybe a philosophy or a reason why you're on the board and what your passions are. But we're looking forward to making this very interactive.
And so, Charles, if you go back to the home, I want to go over the top, toolbar for them. You go to home. Okay, so the top toolbar is going to have a lot of information for you. If you go down district info, you have Board of Education, Office of the Superintendent, district news. You have the calendar. Click on the calendar, not just the calendar one right there. So if you click on where it says calendar, it will take you, this is the district calendar. This calendar will have all the sports, everything that's going on, any activity, all the schools can post to this calendar. So we already have activities coming up and you see those on the bottom of the web page as well. Then we also have off of it, if we have our regular calendars, if somebody wants to do a printout of the calendar, we have that with a link to a printable document below it in both English and Spanish. Now, one of the things I do want to highlight on the website, if we'll go back to the right at the homepage again, is at the very top, there is a language right there. If you click that, hit Spanish for me, Charles.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
And it will translate the whole entire website into Spanish. The only thing that will not be translated is like if I do like a flyer and I put the flyer on there, it won't, but any of the text that's entered in there will be. So you'll see like with the transportation, I had the flyer plus the text. And so that's why you're gonna see kind of that double information there, just so that we make sure we have that translation for people. And then if you go back to the top and just hit show original, and it will translate it back into the original, no, right over on the Google, on the very top line, see Google. Yeah, right there. And so now I'll translate it back. We have registration has a link to all the registration information. If they're wanting to find my school, any information that they need for enrolling their students. Join our team will take them directly to our TED Talk, or is it TED Talk or Ed Talk, the official job website.
Telenet.
There we go, Telenet. There you go.
You were close.
I was really close.
Now tell them what she labeled it.
So for parents, this is specifically for parents. If they hit the campus parent, that will take them to their Infinite Campus. We have student nutrition. If you click on that, it'll take them straight to our nutrition right here that has all of our menus and anything else that they would need from student nutrition. And so they're great. We're trying to get everything where it's on the tabs instead of before on our website, we just had like everything on that home page. So now it's a little bit more organized. We have the same thing for the students. And then for the staff, we have our regular links here for the staff. But Charles, will you go in and hit log in for me? Any staff member, they'll hit login. It's their regular information, their email and their password. And now you guys see at the bottom that staff information that popped up. That will only come up if you're logged in for staff. So we hit the finance one for me. So we have some information like in finance that doesn't need to necessarily go out to all of the public. So we have for like forms and resources that we need within the district. We have those in there. So basically mileage reimbursement forms, things like that, because we didn't need our public seeing that type of internal documents, but we wanted to have a place where everybody could go for it. So that's one of the nice features about the website is we can take information and have it to where it's only our employees that see it. And if you keep on going up, orange Charles, I love that pig. So that gives you for the staff, we have quite a bit coming off of the staff information services. These are all of our different services in our teams. We do have some working on it, but activities and athletics has a really nice one. They have the sports schedules in paper form, as well as if you go to the sports schedules, as well as doing the events off of there. So if you're just wanting to see there's all of theirs, and then they have a calendar for theirs, but it populates on that athletics and activity events. If you hit that, that is basically just their calendar. So if you just want to go and just check on their stuff, it'll be on here. And of course, if you go to the next month, so then they can see that. And so you have right there, and they have for all the different events from there. The school sites are very similar in the layout, and we did that on purpose because we wanted people, when they were going through, that they could see exactly, they know where the information is. Once they know one website, they know the others.
If you click on the, like the varsity football, it tells you the time too.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So click on one of those events.
Wow.
It will tell you the time, the location, and all the different calendars it went to and the contacts. So we're able to put contacts now too for different events. So let's say we're having something at Memorial, we can make sure to have all of the contact information there when we're adding those events. Let's see. So up at the top, we have all of our social media handles. So we have the Facebook, Twitter. We have our YouTube, which we're streaming on right now. So that's that YouTube. That will go to me for the district page, but that's the email. But for the school pages, we have that all for basically it goes to several different people. It goes to like secretaries, the principals, because we have that contact DIS email. So all those emails there, and then we have our Instagram on there as well. Let's see.
And content automatically moves out to our social media, correct?
Yes. So when, in fact, I don't know if you have Facebook on yours, but on our Facebook page, you will see that the content that I posted earlier, they're nice, pretty links now. So it's not like I'm just posting a picture. It's actual link to where it is on the website.
Try clicking, just, it might take you and show you. Okay, never mind.
Just click there, there you go.
Yeah.
So you see right there, there's nice little links right here for when I'm posting, so I can put them out. So it makes it a little bit easier for me as well. And so now you have like the transportation. If you click on that one for me, just right on there, it will take you back to the website where we have that news story on. And one of the things that I love is I can share their emails on here, and then I can also put the PDF document. So if you click on the PDF right there, the highlighted one towards the end, there you go. That will take you to directly the document so that they can print and go from there. And this one is translated. If you go further down, it's in Spanish as well.
Did you do the translation?
I did not. Transportation sent that to me. Unfortunately, I am not bilingual, so I only have Google Translate, and yeah, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
So, but those are, so the other thing that I'd like to show you is just so that you know where to get quickly to look at a different school. So if we go back to the website, at the very top, you see select a school. You have all the schools right there. You click on any school, that was a good one. And it'll take you right to their school. As you see, we saw that video, but it'll be their school video. If you go down, it has some quick links on there. It has about their information, and then it will have their news and district news in there as well as district dates for the calendar.
Nice.
But as you see, like the top line, they're all very similar. There's going to be school info, parent info, staff info, student info in there, and then services in each of the space.
Nice.
So I am just happy it's done,
Yeah.
but we are constantly updating it, and I'm still kinks here and there that I'm finding since we So if you're on there and you see anything that doesn't work, please let me know so I can get it changed as soon as possible. But I think this one's gonna be more user friendly than what we had before.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots
done
of,
a great job.
yes,
Thank you.
lots
Thank
of
you.
work getting that done. Thank
Yes.
you.
You're welcome.
Now we're down to the consent agenda. You see the, agenda items, under the consent agenda. So do I have a motion to, approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
You have a second? Okay.
I'll make the second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Would you take the roll, please, Mr. Pearl?
Yes, before we continue with the roll call, I just want to point something out on the consent agenda for June 28th, 2023. I wasn't here, I was on vacation, and I would have loved to have been here because I would have voted no on action item G. I would actually have voted to table it. The portion that I'm not happy with, or I feel that we made a mistake, would be the Smith School administration putting the HVAC on there. I think it's too old of a building. And obviously, I'm gonna be saying no to the consent agenda. So, but we'll leave it at that. You guys approved it, it's done. We'll just leave it at that. So I just feel it needs to be on the record. So, Daniel Kroll, no. Mrs.
Yes.
Hernandez, Mrs. Cameron,
Yes.
Mrs. Paez,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Orozco.
Mr. Orozco.
Okay, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we're up to number 7, our action items. Action item A is consideration and approval of a resolution proposing capital improvements tax ballot question and other matters relating thereto.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Turner will review the resolution.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Chavez, action item A is basically a resolution allowing us to notify the county clerk that we have this tax ballot question for the next election cycle. It's similar to the board positions that we approved at the last meeting. And I stand for any questions.
Any comments or questions?
I make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Cameron,
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez,
Yes.
Mrs. Paez,
Yes.
Mr. Orozco. Yeah. And Mr. Kroll.
The motion carries.
And Madam President, members of the board, the next action item B is consideration and approval of a budget adjustment request, which is a private grant. It's a transfer budget. It is the funding that we received for the vape detectors. So it's just transferring from one object code to the other to capitalize the purchase of those vape detectors.
Okay.
And we recommend approval.
Any questions or comments?
I just wondered if they're already installed and
They are at Red Mountain. I believe they're being tested right now to make sure that they're operating the way they're supposed to.
They run on Wi-Fi, huh? They run on Wi-Fi, so they notify you. Okay.
Yes. they
Even
notify
if
you.
there's a hidden area, go down the line to whoever's on that number, so you get an immediate text.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay. Would you call for the roll, the count, please?
Yes. Mr. Orozco, Mr. Paez,
yes.
Mrs. Cameron,
Yes,
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Kroll, yes.
the motion carries.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, the next item for consideration is approval of the LGRF agreement, which is like step 3 in the 10-step process that we have to do. Ms. Echeverry is here to follow up.
That is correct. The local government road fund makes you do several resolutions and agreements before they'll give you a grant agreement. So before you is the grant agreement for the improvements to the parking lot at Chaparral. Basically it says everything that we went through on the resolution the last time, but the department will be paying on the project $28,536. Our share is 25% of the project cost, which will be $9,511 for a total project cost of $38,047. I'll stand for any questions.
Do you have an idea when it's actually gonna happen, when they're gonna actually work on it?
As soon as I get this, signed, and then the department will sign the grant agreement and give it back to me. I know that Babs is chomping at the bit to get this done.
It's ready.
So-
It's shovel ready.
Yeah, she's already gotten the environmentals done, so it's pretty much we're ready to go. So as soon as that does, we'll start. She'll probably have this done within a couple months. I bet.
Great, thank you.
All right. You'll have the improvements done, or we'll have the ready to,
Hopefully the improvements.
Hopefully the improvements.
okay, I just wanted to clarify, that's what you meant.
Yeah, hopefully the improvements, it will just depend on when we get the signed
Right.
agreement back, because we already have money in the budget to do this, so. We're ready to go on our side, it'll just be the DOT signing off on it and we'll get started.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next item. Oh, we have to approve it, I'm sorry. I'm just moving it all along.
You are.
Do we have, do we have a motion for the approval of the LGRF agreement that we just heard? Yeah. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Cameron,
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mrs. Paez.
Yes,
Mr. Orozco. Yes. Mr. Crowe, yes.
The motion carries. Thank you. Thank you for your work.
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam President, members of the board, the next item D for consideration is the award of bilingual speech and language services. Mr. Sines will present as our new on his own Director of Exceptional Students.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Madam President Cameron, Superintendent Chavez, members of the board. I come to you with 3 bids for the bilingual speech language pathologist and your approval. We went ahead and chose Sonrisa, which was a process that was new to me, but I liked it because it gives me an opportunity to see and allow them to articulate what services they're going to give us. And so on and so forth. That's weird.
Okay. So, tell me again, who is,
Sonrisa.
oh, Sunrisa, I see it
Yes,
right there.
That's the
Okay,
recommendation.
all right. Any questions? Comments? If so, I would entertain a motion for the, consider for the award of the bilingual speech language services. From,
Sonrisa.
I'll make that motion. Okay. We
I'll
have a-
second that.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Crowe, will you call for the vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco. Yes. Mrs. Paez.
yes.
Mrs. Cameron.
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
Okay.
Repeat your title again, because that's so good. Vicky, can you read?
He's the Director of Exceptional Students.
That is really good. An amazing title. I
It's
like
been
that.
hard because we're so entrenched with the word sped.
Yeah,
Such a hard word for it.
that is a nice title.
That's hearing it that when they're calling a kid something like that, just,
Yeah,
so I think this is gonna be,
definitely. That's really nice.
thank you.
Okay, the motion passed. And thank you, Mr. Si.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Sines. So Madam President, members of the board, our next item for approval is the collective bargaining agreement. And Ms. Chung, do you have anything you want to
So
start off with?
as I said, this is a huge document, and to be honest, I've gotten sick of looking at parts of it. I've looked at it so many times, so it's hard to edit it. We haven't sent it out a couple times to a couple different people, but things get missed all the time. I know Ms. Cameron has some changes, so yes, please send those to me and we'll make sure they get changed to the next round. There is also a typo on page 26. It says, it has to do with the buyback program. It says sick leave buyback. It has the term, I think it's number 3. That's number 3 right there. It says $50 and then it also says the 125. The 125 is the new and the 50 is the old. And then the other one, it says 35 and 70 on the next line down. And the 70 is the new that was agreed to. Somehow those didn't get struck out. So I'm not quite sure if we'll just wait till the next year and get it officially struck out, or if we're gonna do a memorandum of understanding or what, but yeah, those were something.
I think an MOU would
Yeah.
be the cleanest.
Yeah.
For us to do.
Then that's what we'll end up doing. We'll bring that to you next month for that. But at this point, it was told to me on Monday and I wasn't even in town to look at my computer and Charles is out of town too. So I was like, well, that's
We'll
just the
fix it.
easiest and simplest to do later. So, I stand for any other questions.
Well, we can easily,
Well, it has to go back to the membership for
Right.
ratification if we change it though.
Right.
So an
Looking through
MOU
an
allows
MOU
us to
process.
just,
Okay, so
Okay.
we can't fix it with a motion.
we can't just fix it
Okay.
with a motion. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I
we
don't
were
know if
ready,
do
huh?
that.
Yeah.
we were
But,
trying to help.
Yeah.
And the membership actually ratified in May for this, and then we discovered that the pay scales weren't quite fixed properly, so then we re-ratified again this week, and then we
Oh.
ratified this morning officially in a meeting.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that part has all been taken care of.
Okay,
So, we got sick leave buyback in this, we raised those rates, we also, collaborated on making sure that all inclusion teachers for exceptional students, receive training every year on how to do inclusion properly. And so things like that are in here. Trying to think of what else. It's a huge change because it was 2 years basically, so honestly.
well, I was impressed that a lot of it, I mean, it does, not focus just on, the membership and all of our staff, but that, it really did, was very clear to me.
Yeah.
And
we
one
do
of
our
the best
best.
ones I've seen, and
There's things that we have in there like, that principals will try to, rotate when certain like assemblies and stuff are, so that certain classes don't get impacted over and over again and that time shortened. Somebody brought up to us that emergency drills need to be added to that. And we're like, oh, okay, that's easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Principals, please try to rotate us. You know, so things like that.
I have
It's all
one
common
question
stuff.
on, well, I have several comments, but I mean, I wrote down several things, but one on page 59, just interested in the, let's see, the maximum allowed out of district experience is 23 years.
That was created by the district.
It's been that has been the statement on the salary schedules since I was
Okay.
hired to teach. So that was just a common
We
statement.
did notice some new stuff about on this page. It says, that you can get new employees qualify for additional days of sick leave. I don't think that was in there previously, but we sure weren't gonna complain, so. I think it was procedure that it was done that way. It just wasn't officially in writing. And so a lot of the things that you see in the bargaining agreement are just that. They're things that have been done that now they're just in writing. And then there's other stuff. The bargaining table is not controversial. We're not arguing over things. We're just discussing, hey, this is an issue people have brought to us. Can we get it put in writing? And this way it provides me, it provides Ms. Chavez, it provides you guys for things that are best for our students in our district.
And there was something in there, and I didn't write it clearly, about work day, and then I said for personal reasons. I'm not sure what I was talking about, so I'll have to ask you that later. Sometimes
Absolutely.
I think I know what
I
I'm,
said we'll be bringing that MOU back.
yeah,
We discussed this.
Okay.
again. So if you guys have any questions that come up on like why we asked for certain wording or something, we're happy to answer it.
yeah. Okay, Any,
We did get, I think, the very first year we did it, for instance, we got safe leave put in officially.
Mhm.
It's actually based on a New York law. It's something the district did on a normal basis. Somebody that has problems with domestic violence in their family even, that now it's in writing that they get these things. Like I said, those are things that the district did and human resources could just work with. But this is now, an employee can look at this and they might just glance over and be like, oh, that's neat, and then keep going, but they don't
Right.
know if it'll happen in their family later.
Right.
And then they can go, oh yeah, wait, I get that.
yeah, they'll change from we'll never need that till,
You
yeah.
know, I mean,
But that's
sadly,
what
it happens.
the group is, that's what the organization is for, is,
Mhm.
and the district together to protect our.
Exactly, and that's what it is. And like I told the employees today, it's so important because our working conditions are the learning conditions of our students. So the more supportive we can make employees feel, the more safe we can make them feel. Hopefully that translates to our students being comfortable and happy in their environments too.
And this project has come a long way from when, or at least when you and I first
Yeah.
got on the board and it didn't exist yet, so.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
happy with ecstatic actually, that we just keep moving forward. And I ask them, what do you want to work on this year? And I'm like,
Yeah, no, that's good.
Okay, on page 37 on the RIF,
mhm.
and it,
So the RIF procedure is taken directly
From
from
policy.
policy.
okay,
It was one that it looked pretty decent to us. And because of when it was created and the school board that was in there, stuff that was in policy was easy to keep. As you guys update the RIF and the policies get updated, we look at those too. For instance, one of the policies that got updated was
The transfer
the transfer one.
assignment.
You want to bring that one up?
It
So we
is-
agreed to the existing policy that you guys have already created. I think it's 11. Yeah. And the only thing was that we asked for at the bottom, no, not page 11, that one that you were on.
That one you were on where it was all green.
Article.
Article 11, yeah.
We agreed to the policy that you guys just approved this year, that would be kept. But we asked for the language at the very bottom. So if we go to that next page, right there, we asked for this, where employees shall not be transferred or newly hired into a position where their family member is in a supervisory position at their new school site unless a valid and legitimate reason exists for such placement. For us, that gives us the right to go into the superintendent and say, why'd y'all do this? Because we don't think it's very good for the school site. It's gonna create a lot of animosity, which happens even without it being intentional. And if the district, if it's something personnel wise that they can't share with us, we can then say, hey, does the school board agree with this? And we can ask it to go in front of you guys, and you guys are the final arbitrator for this valid and legitimate.
But it also gives us the right, in a small district, we have one high school. Well, we have two high schools, but, and then the alternative. So it can be very limiting in terms of where we can move people to. So it gives us the ability to say, there was a necessity for that. I mean, that there was a need for this.
And that was the reasoning behind it is it can't just be clear cut that this can't be done. We are too small of a district
Yeah.
for that. It happens. I know right now, special education, for instance, is, I mean, if a new person shows up and says, I want to work and I'm only willing to work at that school, my mother's there. You know what I mean?
And they're licensed.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll take them.
No, like, are you sure? we're gonna finish this school instead of that school? Right. You know, really.
Yeah,
Some of these things do happen. And I mean, I was first hired when Jeanette Gardy, principal at the high school, and her husband, William Gardy, worked there. And they did an amazing job keeping it extremely separate. There was never any question. I mean, they wouldn't even lunch together to keep it so separate. So that was easy for them to do. But I've seen other schools where it becomes behind the scenes of, well, I got a bad evaluation. That's because their wife doesn't like me or something. You really don't want that. It's not good for a school.
no,
Agreed.
page 38.
He'll have to pull it. He's pulling it up. Yes,
Is that 38?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there was, unless I just dreamed it about intern. Where did I see that? I may have just, I must,
That's the RIF.
So it can't be that page, that's still the RIF. And like I said, that's school board policy. We didn't alter anything even when it probably should have been. And that first year creating it was a huge amount of meetings. So. And some of it's really good.
Mhm.
Very lengthy.
Very.
Yeah, but it's very clear.
Yes. it
And-
is.
and that
It's
was-
very lengthy and very clear. So, you know. We say that we do have to be careful with this because, I don't think we have this issue now, but I know years past, we actually had a superintendent who used the term RIF to drop a couple of employees without doing this procedure, but he wasn't doing a true RIF. They just wanted to get rid of those specific employees and it's, yeah.
Yeah. This is why it's always good to have,
Yeah, and at that time, I wasn't even in, an officer of NEA, but it was something I knew about, but we didn't know enough to challenge it at that time.
well, it's a very, I think, well put together document. And it's very clear, and that's what, sometimes in the past,
Yeah, really simple language. I mean, you know, so everybody is really clear and hopefully understands it. The important thing with this document, though, is to realize that it's up to employees to uphold this document.
mhm,
If things happen in their school sites that violate the CBA for whatever reason, legitimate things that happen. But if it happens, if they don't say anything, then it doesn't matter. It's just the document doesn't exist. It is up to employees to speak up and say, hey, this is in the CBA. Hey, let me pull up this page and send it to my principal. Let me pull up this page and send it to me or somebody else and say, this is how it's supposed to be done.
or oops, I can't do it.
Yeah, or, yeah, I mean, whatever happens, I mean, sometimes it should have to be a discussion, because like I said, there are things that happen. But it is up to the employees to bring it up and say, this is how it's supposed to be.
Anything else? Any other comments? Well, I think this is very well,
It's been a partnership.
put together and
Yes.
applaud those that worked on it and
Yes.
getting it through. And I think more clarity we have, the better we are.
Agreed.
And cuts down a lot of sometimes situations that can just go by here and it's, you know, it's over. And that's what we want, is not necessarily always have someone being wanting to bring something, but just to clarify, I know what I want, what I can or can't do.
And I personally look at it as best practices that
Yes.
we're just putting in writing.
I
Again,
need to
things
remember
survive.
that. I like that, yeah. Okay, any other comments? No, okay. Thank you.
We do recommend approval.
Okay. You'll have a motion for approval of the collective bargaining agreement with NEA Deming.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Would you take the vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco? Yes. Mrs. Paez?
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
The motion carries. Thank you. And thank you for your work. And all those that I'm sure worked with you.
And I am not going to leave on the bars and say, I don't.
Okay, our next one is consideration and approval of contract for the project-based learning services with the Buck Institute. Superintendent.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, as I've been sharing, I think over probably the last 6 months off and on regarding our focus on inquiry-based learning, making sure that the projects that we do are a high rigor, every kid has an opportunity to engage. Really thinking about changing the mindset around enrichment being layer one, that the way we do things, not that you can do project-based learning all the time, every time, but our goal is in the next 3 years that every student from 4th grade through 12th grade would have the opportunity to engage at least annually in a capstone type project where they present, they explore, they inquire, they research, they build their projects around an interdisciplinary unit. And in order to do that well, I think we have to have really good professional development to support staff, to think about how we're going to implement and what are the needs to be able to implement. And so working with the REC, Southwest Regional Education Cooperative, they went out when I asked them if they were interested in having the opportunity to do any kind of project-based learning training for the region. They jumped on it. So they actually did the RFP because they said, absolutely, we have other districts that have been asking for this kind of training, so they can do the cooperative agreement. So we didn't run the RFP and award it. The Southwest Regional Education Cooperative did, and because we're a member and they can do government procurement, we can jump on board with them. There were 3 vendors that were awarded, and we chose to go with the Bunk Institute. They were all fairly equal in price in terms of total cost. However, the Buck Institute was more on site, and we felt that was a more appropriate way to launch and to support. One of the things that we're looking at doing is we're looking at 5th grade through 8th grade being our focus this first year, with the idea that high school would then start to plan for it. Like, what is it that we would need to do? Are there scheduling considerations? So our focus is on 5th through 8th grade. And we are looking to have our 5th grade teachers participate, and 3 teachers plus a special education teacher, an exceptional student teacher from intermediate school. And then the same at Red Mountain, I believe, is 4. If I've missed something.
We're also having a special ed teacher from. every
Yes,
grade.
yes, yes. Yes, we're having a teacher, because we want our students in exceptional programs to be included and to also have the same experiences. So because of the value of it, we have to come to you all for approval. We did attend an administrator. They came and did an administrator training in June, and I think it opened a lot of eyes. I think it gave us a kind of a renewed energy for that enrichment, inquiry-based approach to how we restructure. I think it's time for us to do something different. Education continues to do some of the same things over and over again, and I don't think we're getting some of the best results. I think if our kids are engaged in very rigorous, relevant, highly interactive experiences, I believe the test will take care of itself. And I think we still are really focused on teaching test taking, and we're just really interested in kind of breaking out of that mold and having experts help us with everyone knowing that we're all in this together. And it will get messy, but we're going to keep working together through it. And so I just really felt that it was important to invest the time and the resources to make it really good. So we're asking for your approval. This is for this school year. So we'll come back next year. We'll renegotiate with them for next year when that time comes. ARP dollars are paying for this. This is not coming out of our regular operating budget. It is part of our ARP plan to help recover gaps in learning and give kids experiences, which is the whole focus of that. So, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
I got a question. So they come to the schools, huh?
They're coming to the district. So we're going to do at the Wildcat Experience next Wednesday, we're going to do what's called a PBL slice. And it's where the teachers, and we did this as administrators in June, but basically you have a 1-day experience as a student putting together a project. It's pretty interesting the way they facilitate it. It was a really, I really enjoyed and got into our project. And so they'll do that first next Wednesday. So the first cohort, basically we're going to run this like cohorts. So we'll have a cohort 1, it'll be 5th through 8th grade. They're going to do a PBL slice that is ELA and science connected. So that's the integration of, and then from there, they'll have 2-day training later. We are going to also offer the staff that are part of this cohort a stipend, because it will take a little extra work on their part. It'll take a lot of extra work. Let me just rephrase that. We know that when you're changing what you're doing, it takes time to figure it out. And so we really want to make sure that if there's times when there's a teacher workday, for example, in the future on the calendar, and if we have to pull them for 2 hours or 3 hours, we know they're going to have to we know this is going to take a lot of extra time. So we do intend to provide a stipend for this first cohort, and then whatever we can do in the future, because we know this is going to be big.
Where do the people come from that are?
They're actually from all over. So the Buck Institute is, I believe the headquarters are in California. I believe they're in kind of the San Francisco Bay Area. The Buck Institute has been around for 26 years, 28 years. They've been around a long time, and this is all they do. They're not professional developers that do a bunch of different things. This is the work that they do. And so that's where they come from. They're from all over though. So one of our administrator leads who's facilitating with us on the implementation process is from Colorado. The trainer that will be with the teachers is actually from Hawaii. So there's next week is coming from Hawaii. We just had a Zoom meeting with them on Monday. So they're from all over the country, but they're practitioners. They actually engage in PBL in their own sites, and
They come with experience and not.
definitely,
Yeah. Mhm.
definitely, that was a huge part of choosing them as well. And the fact that they focus the Buck Institute, this is their this is what they do, was really important to us as well. That it wasn't like, oh, and we can do writing training, and we could like all these different. This is really focused. It's not that they don't teach writing, but it's in the integration of what is the outcome you expect to see in your projects? How do you do a gold standard lesson? What is the product that you should be seeing and the performance levels of your students? So.
Okay.
Any other questions, feedback?
No, we'll need to have a vote.
Yes.
I need a motion for approval of the contract for project-based learning services with the Buck Institute. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Kroll?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco? Yeah. Mrs. Paez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes,
Mr. Crowe, yes.
thank you. The motion
Thank you.
passes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're down to superintendent's reports.
So I just have a couple of things I want to try and tie together. I think the fact that we are shifting the way we talk about the work we do is really important. I think our administrators are really working on thinking through, like, how do we say things like exceptional students as opposed to students with disabilities? We're calling ourselves teams, not divisions and departments. We're really working to have this very proactive, positive approach to educational services that we provide as a district. And so I hope that as we move forward, our website should exemplify that. Like everything we do, my goal is to make sure that our community and our teachers and our parents, everyone is just, we're in this together. We have so much hope and future for individuals and we don't want to tie ourselves down and bring negativity to the work that we do. Yeah, there's going to be problems. We're going to have to work through them. We're going to have to hash things out. We're not going to always agree, but we're still in this together to educate our children because our community, they deserve it and our community deserves it. And so I hope that as the year goes on, you're going to hear that language changing. We're really trying to be intentional about that. And then I think along those lines, the other piece to this, as the restructuring has occurred, is really making sure we have effective and efficient operations and we have strategy around our systems, like what we're going to do. And again, it's not going to be perfect, but I love the ability to have just open dialogue and transparent conversations. And I think I just want to say, like with NEA, I feel like we've come a long ways, even in the time I've been here, in how we just work together proactively. And so I think that the restructuring and the systems and the way we're looking at it, I think HR has done an amazing job in a short period of time of shortening times, turnaround times, and we're trying to be more customer focused and what is it that we need to do that's right for our kids. And so as the year progresses, I think you're going to see that from all the different teams that are in the district. I'm pretty excited about our future. So this is going to be a great year. I think that's all I wanted to do.
Can I just say that,
Absolutely.
I think it's important that we recognize that the leadership, so if the person who's leading the changes is a positive, proactive person, then other people can, get on to that.
Thank
So I think that's important for us to recognize and for us to say.
Right, I agree. Okay, so that was your report.
That's it.
That was, it'll be interesting for the work that's going to be done. A lot of time will go into this, and I think if we're all positive about it, it can be very successful.
Yes.
Okay. All right, announcements. Do we have any requests for our agenda item for next meeting?
I don't have a request, but I'm wondering, are we still doing the board retreat on the 5th or we moved it to the 19th? Okay,
It's the.
Okay.
They're two totally separate things.
okay, got it. I just, I confused
So
myself.
Let me just clarify. So the August 19th flyer that I sent you from the Southwest REC, they are doing a regional board training.
Okay,
They're hosting it. They worked with NMSBA to get the approval for each of those classes, 1 credit hour for each of those classes. That is on August 19th. So if
Okay.
anybody needs hours or there's a topic that you're interested in, you can go just for that hour or you can not.
okay,
It's totally optional. I just wanted to share it with you as
That's
an,
good.
but if you'd like to be a super board member or super board, the more hours you get.
Yeah.
Right?
You are, well, you are a super board, but I guess in their eyes. But that is completely separate. So.
Yeah, okay, got it now. Thank you.
Then Wednesday, we have our, what is it, conference or?
It's the Wildcat
Oh,
Experience is
yeah.
next
So
Wednesday.
will be,
Yes.
starts at what time? Mrs. Chavez?
It starts at 8, but there's breakfast starting at
8 o'clock.
7:15. At 7:15, so you're welcome to
Yeah,
be us.
be there.
Anybody's welcome.
Yeah.
I have,
Press,
I
Anya, if you wanna be there.
that morning.
We're at the high school.
I usually miss them.
So Wednesday at 7:15 is the breakfast.
Breakfast starts at 7:15
Okay.
and then the welcoming, I'll do the welcoming at 8 o'clock. And we have a guest speaker, education comedian type gentleman who's coming, who is also connects it very deeply to relationships and student, the emotional learning of social emotional learning of students. And so I think it'll be very engaging, and he'll spend the day also offering some breakout sessions, correct? And then we have staff offering breakout sessions.
And it's appropriate if we could show up for a while.
You're welcome anytime,
It would be good
anywhere.
if we show up.
Pardon,
It would be good if we show up.
if I show up.
I said it would be good if we show up.
Yes, yes. Okay, good. That sounds very good, like a,
And Peppers and First New Mexico are sponsoring lunch again for our staff, which is really
Great.
That's
awesome.
nice, yeah.
Yes,
And where is the welcoming?
it's at the high school.
Okay, everything's at the high school.
Everything is at the high school.
Okay.
The gym or the,
The welcoming will be in the gym.
the gym?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Breakfast will be in their den, their cafeteria. They call it the den.
Okay. Okay, anything else you need to add? Or you have a question on?
I-
School starts off.
Joe Guillen,
Uh-huh.
you had asked me to reach out to him regarding the calendar for the training hours for the board members. He informed me it's September 1 through August.
Okay.
30th.
Okay. Good, thank you. All right, then if there no other announcements or requests, then we'll have our next regular board meeting on August the 17th here at the Emmett Shockman Administration Building. And if you have anything for the agenda, make sure that you get it into our wonderful person who keeps us in line all the time. And for all of you out there, we wish you a very successful opening of school. I remember how it is. We haven't forgotten that. And that the board does appreciate the work that's being done in all of our schools, and all of the leadership is very important with that, and working with the union. I think in the last couple of years is some of the best times that the union and administration and everyone has worked together for our students. So I just want to thank you for that, for all of you for that. Okay, but if not, we'll see you here August the 17th. And with that, we'll have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I second it. Oh, I can't second it.
I'll second.
I don't know why I seconded it. Okay, but
Just you're ready to go.
call
Yes.
it. Oh,
So I'll second.
yes, okay. Would you call the vote, please?
Mr. Rostro? Yes. Mrs. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes,
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
okay, we are adjourned.